you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day.
It's like walking through snow that sometimes gets very deep. Okay, I've stopped moving forward. It's like living in a place where sunrise happens at 11 a.m. Very beautiful. It's not freezing cold at all. It's like having to play outside as a kid at recess, even when it's 20 below. It's like needing sunglasses, not for the sun, but for how reflective the snow is. It's like scraping snow and ice off your car every morning. It's like spending a lot of money on coffee huts. It's like Sorel boots being the go-to accessory.
So what?
It's like having some of the most hardcore bicyclists ever.
Hey, Leo, how about Meerkat movies tonight? Hello, Leo? Leo? What did Bruce say? Hey.
With shared parental leave, you and your partner can both enjoy time with your baby. You can share up to 50 weeks at different times or at the same time and not miss out on your career. Find out how you can share the joy at gov.uk/share the leave.
Even though Nostradamus wrote his predictions in 1555, his prophecy involves modern-day events as well. There are several predictions that involve events, which are supposed to happen in 2017 and 2018. According to his prophecy, there will be a war between two of the greatest powers in the world. His prediction says the war will go on for 27 years. He also predicted that there would be a moment of great violence. The war is going to coincide with the appearance of comet. And nuclear terrorism and natural catastrophes will destroy our planet until a giant planet shall approach the Earth. Nostradamus predicted. According to Prophet 666, the US-led coalition will suffer defeat in the sea. The reason behind World War III might be a number of assassinations or a single one. A person called Mavis will be assassinated, and this will trigger World War III.
Is it otherworldly or a synapse in the brain? Trapped in a car or caught up in a terror attack, it's those moments while fighting for survival that some people report an overwhelming sense of calm, piercing through the panic. It's repeatedly described as spiritual, even divine. Could it be the work of guardian angels? ABC's Jay Shadler discovers some very surprising answers.
For more top 10 videos.
In a moment of mayhem,
Make sure to reply to every
or
single
in that
one of you.
instant,
Welcome back to the
exquisite
Space Down
looked at
video.
my
So today,
irrigation, I
again,
thought,
of course,
okay,
it's going to
this
be
is
another reaction based
Human
content video
beings
since
often
quite a few
report
of you
being
kind of dig
comforted
these. And
by
again, it's going to
invisible
be fresh
companions.
from you viewing these as well as hopefully you.
Only my
So
guardian
today,
angel could have saved me
We're going to
from
see if
such
we
an
can believe
accident as
miracles
that.
exist
Rose
after
Benvenuto
watching these
says she
videos.
glimpsed
I'm
her
not too
at the scene
gullible
of
of a
a terrible
person,
car
but I
wreck.
am a believer if you make me
Sedoya
believe.
never
So
felt alone, though
ready to
lost for days in a California canyon.
Did you at any point give up hope?
And it's 6 seconds. Let's check this out.
I had my buddy who died last year. All by my side, I felt his presence.
And the last words Felix Baumgartner heard before stepping from the brink of space en route to setting
Not a
the
good
world's
scene.
skydiving record
We know
were
one thing
these.
came out of that car.
Okay, here we go.
This Bible.
And our guardian angel will take care of you.
How citizens saved the
She said this
driver's life,
Bible, and there's no
cutting
Bible.
him out
Again
of his
and again
own
and
seatbelt.
again, as my guardian angel
The driver
is
was taken to Regional 1, non-critical
Is the
condition,
guardian
but a sight that brought
Well,
tears
that's
to
the
many
great
was
mystery.
this Bible.
John
The only
Geiger,
thing
an
left.
internationally
There it
known
is.
explorer
Burned up
and
vehicle
author, has
sitting
been
on the front
investigating this
seat.
phenomenon for
A
There's
years.
no way.
His book, The Third
Canine
Man
officer
Factor,
and another
lays out
paper.
his theory.
rescued him, stood
The stories
around
are
him
always
and
similar
prayed.
that there's
Near that
Even if it was like
sense of
laminated or
another being
it's not even melted.
presence very vividly. There's never any fear, panic when this being appears.
All I'm going to
There's
say is
just a
that
sense
if
of
you have a
calm.
car
peace.
with intense flames like that, as
It
you saw, I mean, it
happened
was
to
up in
Stephanie
flames,
Schwab.
everything,
I'm about as religious
and
as
it was
a
left there
wood.
unscathed.
While
No
cave
marks on it.
diving for a research project in the
It was a Bible,
Bahamas,
too.
she suddenly lost her guide rope.
I mean, I'm not going to
In an
lie, I'm just
instant,
one
her
video
life
into
was on
this,
the
and
line.
I'm already starting to
I
become a
suddenly
believer.
realized that
How
I
about
was
you
in trouble.
guys? What
I
do you
knew
think
my
of
heart
this
rate, I could
situation? Let me
hear
know
it
down in the comments below. But
bouncing
let's
in
move
my
on to the
ears.
next one.
And I just kind of sat down on the floor and I started crying. Never cried underwater before.
Only weeks before, Stephanie's husband and diving partner, Rob Palmer, had died in a diving accident in the Red Sea. And now, alone, she's facing her own dark death.
Suddenly the whole cave just brightened up.
And into that world floated the words of Stephanie's husband. Believe you can, believe you can't. Either way, you're right.
And then I calmed down, and then I suddenly looked around and I saw what I thought was a thread, a white thread, which is my guideline is white. So I floated up, and lo and behold, it was my line. He was there for me in a way, in an emotional way.
So how is Stephanie's experience to be explained?
Isn't this just possibly an hallucination?
No, I don't think it is a hallucination. I think what people are experiencing is a very concrete survival mechanism that is part of our human heritage.
Geiger believes that in a life-threatening crisis, our minds experience both the terror of the moment and the peace of perspective.
And then the brain is able to sort of stand back from that and sort of rise above that and rationally figure out a way to help this person get through that.
So the guardian angel is us.
The guardian angel is us.
In extreme cases, our subconscious companion appears to take the form of a physical or spiritual entity. Rose Benvenuto, for example, believes this photograph, seen by millions on the internet, is proof of the guardian angel who helped her escape from a near-fatal car accident. John Geiger doesn't see it that way.
When I see a picture like that, I'm skeptical.
And yet voices, he says, like the one Stephanie Schwab heard, seem to be almost commonplace.
And they'll always say they heard a voice, but then if I say, well, was it audible? Would other people have heard the voice? No. So there's a communication that's happening
inside them.
Sometimes the communication isn't with sound, but with images. A few weeks ago, Marty Hodges took his two teenage boys skiing in Colorado. Wide open spaces, perfect for a man with an extreme case of claustrophobia. But then, an avalanche.
And I saw it just coming towards me. It's really fast. and I couldn't do anything. Then I finally, like, my goggles ripped off. Then I had snow coming down my throat. I couldn't breathe for like 15 seconds.
For me, you know, when I was hit by the snow and I immediately was turned inside out in this complete blackness, I was sure I was going to die.
But instead of being paralyzed by his claustrophobia, Marty's mind delivered an even more chilling vision and a reason to fight his way free.
I could see myself literally at Denver International Airport, out on the tarmac, watching him go in an old-fashioned pine box being slid into the back of a 757, you know what I mean? And I can see it very clear.
Where did that image come from?
I have no idea.
Driven by that haunting image, Marty instantly made his decision. Battling through the snow, he was able to search for and then reunite with his sons. And just last week in Boston, Steve Byrne, standing at the finish line when the first bomb exploded, made a split-second decision to turn away from where the next bomb would wreak its havoc.
I know that 1 second different and 6 inches to the right, and it would have been a whole different outcome for myself. The guardian angel was definitely over my shoulder that day.
Left unanswered, of course, is why so many others never found their guardian angels. Still, in the end, all of these cases remind us again that it can be a very rough universe out there. To survive it, a little help from an invisible companion might just be essential.
Humans are very resilient, and I think that the basis of that resilience, in part, is this capacity, this sense that we are not alone.
Jay Shagler for Nightline in New York.
The thought of having a guardian angel that is always there, caring for you with an infinite amount of love, regardless of what you look like, regardless of your flaws, is a powerful feeling. And then at your most vulnerable state, that guardian angel performs a miracle that is just so beautiful that many believe must be an act from God. With that in mind, we are going to share you images and tape footage that many
the great eruption of
You might have bought the phone, but whoever hacked it, they're the one who owns it. Any device that's on here, you can operate independently.
So it's true you can get into the phone and turn the camera off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a way you can tell if your phone's been hacked?
Perhaps the most terrifying thing is if your phone had been hacked, you would never know.
This week on Vice, the inside story of America's surveillance program.
I'm going to be detaching the camera, the devices that you paid for, watch you on our behalf.
It seems like technology allows almost anyone to spy on almost anyone.
Even if you trust the government today, what happens when it changes? When eventually we get an individual who says, you know what, let's flip that switch.
Det är helt otroligt spännande att få vara med.
Ja, vad är det för något?
Det följde varandra parallellt.
Ja, deras nedover med diverse farger av hvit og rød over. Det er et lys som blinker. Å, fy fader! Ja, Silvere, har du det? Da har det her. Å, dame! Fy faen, det var en brennskott!
Det lyser med en fantastisk intensitet opp til en megawatt. Har det vært beregnet at dette her lyser ut. Det lyser lenge. Hvor i all verden er ledningen da? Hvor er drivstofftanken som klarer å få dette her til å lyse? Det er like stort som et hus nå da.
Hessdalen, this remote mountain valley in Norway, 30 kilometers north of the mining town Røros, has a population of only 120. There was once 4 times as many people living here, but today many homes are empty. But why is there a blue container placed far up on one of the hillsides, with cameras covering the valley? Is there something going on in Hessdalen of an unusual character?
The light phenomena here in Hessdalen in Norway started in late 81, with a lot of sightings. At the most it was 20 sightings a week. The local people here started to see the light down in the valley, sometimes close to their houses, and they was wondering what could this be, and some was a little bit afraid too, because no one could give them any answer. What could it be? And this became known for the public through newspapers, etc. And people started to go up here and see if they could see it for themselves. And many people did.
Det er for langt unna. Nei, oppå Holmok begynner jeg til å fotografere nå, karer. Det er borti!
Men da stod vi en 30-40 personer og kikket. Og plutselig kom da dette lyset gjennom skydekket og ned langs fjellsiden og stoppet rett foran oss og seig forbi. Og vi fulgte den med blikket, og nede i dalen lenger frem stod det et lys og ventet på den. Og i det øyeblikk falt jo alle mine teorier om fly, meteoritt, kulelyn. For det første var det jo ikke noe lyd fra dette her. Dette her var helt uforståelig.
A long oval-shaped light phenomenon appeared to be landing. It came up the valley, along the mountainside, stopped and rotated slowly.
Så reiser den seg opp, så den står som en stake oppe på fjellet. Og da var det akkurat som når du ser inn i sola, så ser du en silhuett inn i det lyset.
This picture is taken with 1/60th of a second exposure.
The phenomena behaves very different. Some is moving very slowly, and some lights can move very fast. The fastest speed we have ever measured was 30,000 kilometers an hour. And we have also recorded the slower speed. We have also recorded on the radar something moving without being seen by a light, so it's invisible, but it's a strong recording on the radar, so it's actually there is something which is moving around.
Ja, hestehalen som du ser innover her slik, den er cirka 15 kilometer lang. Den er ikke så veldig stor da, men så har du en fjellside på øst og fjellside i vest. Det har jo vært mye mot disse fjellene som dette har blitt sett veldig mye da.
Many strange photos were taken of the phenomenon during the first years. The lights were difficult to capture on film due to long distances and rapid movements in the dark. Even on short exposures down to 1/100th of a second, the lights covered a large area of the film. What kind of lights would behave this way, night after night in this harsh environment?
I 84, tror jeg, på denne tida på året, var vi inne og lekte oss inn på låven her, og kommer ned ut utgangsdøra. Så registrerer vi et eller annet som står overfor oss, og det er et lys som vi står og ser på, som står og funkler sånn som det her, og det er blågrønt, og det står og, ja, en cirka 5-10 sekunder, det virker som en evighet, og så plutselig så drar det bortover vestover. Jeg følte ingen frykt. Jeg tenkte kanskje at det var så heldig at jeg kom såpass titt inn på det, for før så hadde vi sett det på avstand, kan vi si, på mange kilometer. Det kom noen sånne runde kuler som kom glidende innover dalen, og etter hvert så ble det så vanlig at det var ikke artig lenger. Men det her var mye mer spennende, for det var mye nærmere.
There were many efforts to explain these phenomena. Could it be aeroplanes, or the light from a distant railroad reflected in the sky, or maybe ball lightning? Or was it satellites, planets, or meteors? But the speed and the way the light moved, often beneath the treetops, eliminated all such explanations. The phenomenon remained unexplained.
Det som er det rare med det lysfenomenet her, er at det har så mange forskjellige typer observasjoner. Det er nesten så vi kan dele inn kategorier. Og en type kategori er lysglimt, som ofte kan være vanskelig å se på grunn av den korte tiden som de varer. Men de er sterke, så det blir registrert på film og så videre. En annen type kategori er store lysfenomener som på en måte går sakte rundt omkring, som kan vare timesvis. Og
En tredje type kategori vel mer hvor du har flere lyspunkter samlet på en måte, som varierer, slokker, tennes og så videre, sånne ting. Det jo de hovedkategoriene, kan du si, og så har du andre typer også, som det ikke blitt observert så mange av da, men som også kanskje må tas med inn i bildet. Så utseendet, oppførselen ganske forskjellig, vil jeg si. Mellom de kategoriene, og som gjør det selvfølgelig vanskelig å finne en løsning.
3 main categories of light, but the fourth category, what was that? Was there more to this than only lights? After a while, brave locals came forward and told of other observations, including large, solid objects.
Ja, jeg har sett 2 forskjellige variasjoner. Ja. Den ene blank og oppløst. Ja. Og den andre mer som sigarforma, og opplyst i begge ender med svart parti, en mørkt parti midt på. Beveger det seg? Ja, i forskjellige hastigheter, og det hender så at det stopper opp og står.
Ja, på vårhus det i gren lenger bort der. En Åge skulle jeg og kjøre tømmer ned på elven der en kveld, med snøskutere. Så jeg skulle følge og hjelpe jeg også. Så jeg skulle rulle de tømmerstokkene på plass, ja, og det gjorde jeg. Så jeg satte meg opp på tømmerstokkene og koset meg der til måneskjana med en røk og satt og styret. Og der fikk jeg se det kom i lys ifra sø. Helt stilt, det var ingen lyd der nå. Og det kom imellom meg og det granen der. Og det ikke noe langt unna der jeg var. Og det var 2 lys på det der som kom, men jeg så det var en farekost, altså. Det var, ja, du kan tenke deg i kneippbrød som flatt under, altså at det kuves opp slik. Så var det ikke lys nemme frempå der, og ikke lyter han oppå. Så det var ikke noe fly, det, nei. Men hva det var, det vet ikke vi ennå.
Vi bevitnes på at vi har sett det, så 68 observasjoner. Og det nedskrevet, ja.
Og når var de siste observasjonene?
11. juni. Det nå i 2006. Og det var ca. 30 varmegrader i sola den dagen. Og helt klår himmel. Og da så vi som en sylinder over fjellet her. Så var det rare med det, den observasjonen, det var at sola skjer ikke på der sylinderen på sørsida, der hun skulle skjenne, men på nordsida, der det skulle være skygge.
Jeg kjørte opp med bussen om morgenen når hun var 7:30, tenker jeg, oppover her, Hestdalslia, innover mot Hestdalen ifra Åren da, her. Og jeg var alene i bussen, og så, når jeg kom nesten opp på toppen, så fikk jeg da se at det kom en lysende gjenstand. Det var jo på våren det her, men det var liksom en liten soloppgang, så at jeg så det glinsa i metallet på det der fartøyet eller sånt da. Det var som luftskipet Norge, kan jeg si da. Det var en sånn formasjon som det var, vi vet jo aldri hvordan det så ut. Det gikk og forsvant da mot det nord, men det gikk inn i atmosfæren liksom på en måte. Så får jeg se et blinkende lys innover Hestdalen. Stod og speilet, og så her plutselig så kommer det en gjenstand. Da stod jeg over skuen der på ca. 300 meters avstand. Det var som en spøkelsesfly. Sølv metallic hadde et blinkende rødt lys fremme. Og så var det 2 blanke lys som stod lodra oppå hverandre bak da. Det var formet omtrent som pistolkule på en 9 mm pistol.
Jeg kan fortelle dere, men vinterkveld, ja, det var i februar-mars. Og så når jeg kom opp av Hestdalslia da, så var det noe mørkt. Men når jeg kom mest opp på toppen, opp på kjølen der, som vi sier, der ble det opplyst rundt meg. Det ble opplyst om dagen. Så kom det nå og for over bil, Det var som en opplyst herrehatt. Gammeldags slik stor herrehatt med brem på det, som for over byen og fremover. Jeg så skogen oppe i Rognefjellet og alt. Ja, det var rart skal jeg si det å se. Satt der og kjørte i mørket, og så plutselig ble det opplyst rundt det.
These reports had the characteristics of classic UFO observations, leading to massive resistance against the phenomenon in the media. The local people in Hessdalen were soon being ridiculed.
Vi ble fryktelig latterliggjort. Det var vanskeligere å reise i hovedbygdene i Åla og på handel.
Og det var bakgrunnen for at vi gjorde de første undersøkelsene allerede i 84, hvor vi da hadde instrumenter her oppe, og fikk gjort målinger når dette fenomenet var her.
A small group of enthusiasts from UFO organizations in Norway and Sweden conducted the first investigations, partly supported from a university and with equipment from the military. Electromagnetic measuring equipment, low-frequency radio receivers, cameras and radar were mounted on a proper site with a good overview. Would it be possible to capture the phenomenon with this equipment? If so, this would be the evidence many were waiting for. And in the first winter in 1984, 53 observations were made during a month. These reports were so astonishing that one of the world's foremost UFO researchers, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, arrived in Hessdalen to see for himself. He was the former scientific advisor for UFO studies undertaken by the U.S. Air Force under the name of Project Blue Book.
And I'm impressed with Hessdalen itself, because Hessdalen is really a UFO laboratory. It's a place where things are happening and where things can be studied.
Well, once we used a laser to point to the phenomenon when it showed up, and it reacted. Well, it was at that time a flashing light, and when we pointed the laser beam to it, it changed the flashing frequency. It doubled the flashing frequency, and we take it down again, and it went back to regular flashing. And we did this test 9 times, and in 8 of those 9 times, it changed the flashing frequency.
Powerful lights with unusual movements, observations of craft-like objects, and responses to laser beams. What kind of phenomenon was this? And still even more peculiar reports were to emerge. In 1984, in a small valley connected to Hessdalen, 3 moose hunters are starting their day. What they are about to find can definitely not be explained as seeing things.
Laget var på elgjakt og går ut fra hytta inne i Ledalen på morgenen, i god tid på formiddagen. Og når vi har gått en stund, så plutselig kjenner jeg at myra begynner å bevege seg under meg. Jeg er oppmerksom på at det utskjer i viss form litt var det der. Jeg begynner å undersøke litt mer om det der, og straks ved siden der ser jeg at det er opptatt i tåret av samme format. Men der sto hølet tomt. Og 4-5 meter lenger inn på tørrerabben der, det lå torva. Nedsatt. Akkurat slik som hun var opptatt. Ingenting var dødt eller noen ting. Skjerrig, helt rene kanskje.
Drones allow us to explore
Og den der
areas that we would
jukla,
otherwise
det
never dare
tjukkelsa
step
på
foot
torven
in,
da.
and as they fly through the
Mellom
sky high
35 og
above,
40
they sometimes catch things that were never meant to be witnessed by the human eye. Number
Kanskje
11.
de anslår til en halvannen og
20 previous Google Earth images.
Og gå ut par timer skal unge uansett den går ifra. Minst.
Number 20. Goat woman. Someone please tell us. This is just a Google Earth error. And there's really not a goat woman walking around the temple of Chichen Itza in Mexico.
Maybe with the help from her ancestors
What
with
has
double
the
jointed
ability
knees,
to cut
they were
out
able
a
to
piece of
construct this
soaking wet
ancient
turf
wonder.
weighing 2 tons
Number
and
19,
place it
horsehead
undamaged
guy.
5 meters
We have to
away?
wonder whether this guy was on his way to a Halloween
The tree
party or
roots in
just
the turf
decided to throw
are
on a
cut
horse
with
mask
razor
that
blade
day.
precision.
This creepy guy was just standing on the sidewalk, waiting to creep out anyone who might have crossed his path. Or maybe he just didn't want his face on Google Earth and decided to put a mask on when he saw the car driving by. Number 18, Miyoshi, Japan. If you search Miyoshi, Japan, you might not notice anything too different at first. Once you look a little closer, you'll see some people sitting on benches or outside their house. After further examination, you'll notice the faces aren't blurred
Later
as
it
usual.
appears that the
Well,
same
it turns
things that
out it's a
happened 2
village of
years
dead
earlier
dolls, and
further
all the
north
people
in
sitting
Norway,
down
at
are
Andøya,
dolls.
with
Eerie but
precisely
true.
the same
Number
kind of
17.
cut and
Where
of
did the carnival
exactly
go?
the same size.
In Kipoleti,
Was it the
Argentina,
same
on Rio
phenomenon
Negro,
in
you'll
operation?
find a creepy
Was this
abandoned
the
circus,
result of an
making you
unknown
wonder,
type of ball
where did all the
lightning,
clowns go?
or was
Have they been
someone
released
from
and
another
are now
world
roaming the
gathering
streets?
test material?
The place looks like it would have been fun at some point
In
in
spite
time,
of the
but now it looks
eyewitness
just
reports of
downright evil.
craft-like
Buy a
UFOs
ticket
and
if you
signs of
dare.
mysterious
Number
landings,
16,
the
Green
researchers
Alien
decide
Cloud.
to concentrate on
In
the light
Somerville,
observations.
Massachusetts, on Broadway
This
Street,
is the part
you'll
of the
notice a
phenomenon
gloomy
where they have
apocalyptic
managed
death
to
cloud,
obtain solid
striking
measurements
complete
and
panic into the
reliable
poor
data.
residents of this town.
Could it be
This
that the
cloud looks highly
observations of
capable of bringing on
objects are of a
destruction with
totally
ease.
different kind,
Or could it just be a leaf
requiring
stuck on
a
the camera
completely
and isn't
different
coming
type
off?
of approach?
Either way, it still seems creepy. Number 15,
Well, according
Ghost
to
Church.
hydraulic
It's just your
mechanics,
average
that's,
sunny day
a
here in
scientific,
Baltimore, Maryland.
far-reaching
The church here,
revolution,
located on North Fremont Street,
of
appears as
physics,
though it
of
may be getting a little bit
essential,
run
quantum
down,
mechanics
and that it
and,
might be
relativity
demolished at any
theory.
minute.
Nowadays,
Zoom in a little
so-
closer, and it's gone.
Requiring
How
a
did that happen?
completely different type of
Did the Lord
approach.
make it vanish suddenly? Now it's a vacant lot that'll
Well,
be put to better
according
use
to,
someday.
horrifying hidden
Number
meanings
14,
in
famous
scientific,
logos.
and far-reaching,
Are you scared of kids and gypsies? You should really avoid
Are
coming
you
to
a
this
fan
place
of
in
Apple
Slovakia
products?
then. This
Do
creepy
you wear
rundown
Timberland
Soho-style
boots?
housing,
And do you like
unsupervised
Starbucks coffee?
kids running around
Have
the
you
streets
ever
and
looked
she's
at the logos of
Google
these
better hope
companies
those
and
aren't
wondered
black-eyed
what their
children,
meanings
or
were?
they would have a serious
We
problem on
at
their hands.
Smart is the New
Adults who are
Sexy
caught on camera
collected
seem to
4
have a
logos
serious
that you
issue
see
with some
almost
fancy
every
car
day
driving down their
and
street.
found out
And it
what
looks
they
like one of them
represent.
didn't get out of the way in
Beware,
time.
the world will
Number
never
13,
be the same
bodies.
after watching
This
this video.
car really needs to be careful when driving down some rough neighborhoods, especially this one in Chile. If he doesn't watch out, it could be the driver that ends up in the dumpster. Somewhere in Chile lies a dumpster.
Timberland LLC is an American manufacturer and retailer of outdoor with a focus on footwear.
Number 12,
Timberland footwear is marketed to
that's
work,
needed on Google
intending
Earth. Is it
outdoor
possible they
use.
could capture a
Are
live
Timberland
burger on
still
camera?
cool?
Possibly,
Yes.
But this time,
You've probably seen many stylish celebrities rock.
During the 1990s, the frequency of observation slowly decreased. In the early 80s, 20 observations would be made in a week. 20 to 30 are now made per year. But the group of Norwegian enthusiasts continues their research. In 1994, Erling Strand and his colleagues organized the first international conference on the phenomenon in Heston. Leading scientists arrived from 8 countries.
Digital tourism, you can be whoever you want to be. With the right tools, the internet can allow you to realize your dreams and to create your own reality. Become a digital duelist today and seize the opportunity to be part of a new cyber philosophy where you are in control of your world. In a world where the realms of online and offline are becoming increasingly merged, it is a myth that you must integrate your online and offline selves.
I think this have very important future, especially for example, you can use this phenomenon like a container of energy, and pure energy.
Escape the hand you were dealt IRL by creating your online persona today. Online, you can be the person you choose to be. Take total control of what others see. Alter or completely create your appearance. imperfections of your real life. The internet is not real life. Digital dualism is real.
IRL everything is just so imperfect. With digital dualism,
In the valley or the world, a Starbucks spokesperson said that the logo is an image of a twin-tailed mermaid, or siren, as she's known.
IRL everything is just so imperfect. With digital dualism, you learn about this thing, the hyperreal. It basically means that online, everything's more complex and better than you. I've learned that you can get so much more fulfillment from simulated reality and living in your ideal world.
Sailors with their enchanting music and voices to shipwreck on the rocky coasts of their island. Moreover, the
IRL
fish tail
everything is
was
just so
associated
imperfect.
with legs.
With digital dualism, you learn about this thing, the hyperreal. It basically means that online,
In the second
everything's more
version, which was used from
better than
1987 to
I've learned that you can get
1992,
so much more fulfillment from
breasts
simulated
were
reality
covered in
and that
hairs.
living in your ideal
Her
world
blouses
is
was
still
still
totally
visible.
possible.
The fishtail was cropped slightly, and the primary color was changed from brown
Can be
to
a tool
green.
to capture spooky moments.
In
Inexplicable
the
and
third
terrifying
version,
moments.
used between
Tells us
1992
again
and
that this world
2011,
is full
her
of
navel and
terrifying
breasts are
surprises.
not
If you
visible
want
at
to know
all,
what I'm
and
talking
only vestiges remain of the
Let's
fishtail.
watch this
The vintage logo sparked some controversy due in part to the siren's bare breasts, but the temporary switch garnered little attention from the media. Starbucks recalled similar criticism when they reintroduced the vintage logo in 2006. In January 2011, Starbucks announced that they would make small changes to the company's logo, removing the Starbucks woodmark around the siren, enlarging the siren image, and making it green.
Let's watch.
Number 1, Marlboro. Marlboro is the world's most popular and largest selling
Accept your appearance. Escape the imperfections of your real life. The internet is not real life. Digital self.
saved by an angel, or is this just some kind of fakery? Hey guys, Bill here. You know, when it comes to what we humans believe in, did you know that 8 out of 10 people believe that angels...
"10 mysterious evidence that prove time travel exists."
Hey, McFly! What do you think you're doing?
Since ancient times, people tried to explain numerous miraculous things that exist on our planet. Many people to this day do not believe that one can travel through time, but the physicists seem to not agree with them. Even Albert Einstein claimed that people can take a trip through time. He recognized time travel as an idea that could be applied to his theory of relativity. The majority of such things have yet to be explained scientifically. However, there are still some phenomena that are hard to believe. We, in Smart as the New Sexy, believe that our adventure through time has taken the most serious turn. Let's look closely at 10 best examples it actually exists. The Man from the Year 2256. In 2003, according to Weekly World News Post, the FBI arrested a man accused of Security and Exchange Commission's violations. He was charged with making 126 high-risk stock trades. Every single trade he made was successful. Having only $800 as an initial investment, he earned $350 million through his numerous deals. After being arrested, he was interrogated by the police. Andrew said that he received the data from the future, and being a traveler from 2256, he knew all the information about stock trades. He took advantage of it. When asked, he refused to tell the location of the time machine for fear that the technology of the future could end in the wrong hands. FBI couldn't trace the origins of the man before 2002. No one knew where he came from. In 2003, a stranger paid a bail of $1 million for him, and Andrew Carlson was released. He didn't attend a court meeting where his lawyer was waiting for him, and disappeared since then. The mystery of the 1940s time traveler. This photograph is also known as a modern hipster photograph. It was among the first ones that started all these time-traveling rumors. 70 years after the photo was taken, it took on a life of its own. Conspiracy theorists spun arguments for the existence of time travel. Photography enthusiasts disputed the photo's authenticity. This photo shows people attending the reopening of the South Forks Bridge in British Columbia in 1941. Among the crowd stands a man who is dressed absolutely...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to talk about a rather serious topic, the future.
We were recently sent this audio
According
file,
to legend,
which is a portion
Barbara
of the
Vangle was an
British radio
ordinary
show
young
from the
woman
year
born in 1911 who was blinded in a
announcer
windstorm
makes
and emerged
predictions
with
for the next
psychic
100
powers.
years. He says that in 2045,
Bulgaria-born prophetess Barbara Vangle, who died at 1996 aged 85, was also known as Nostradamus from the Balkans.
Man will look back
She
on
used her
such
abilities
predictions.
as a consultant
The year,
to be
as you
very
know,
loyal
is
family and later to
1945.
the ruling
100 years from now, it will be 2045. It is difficult to imagine the state of the world in 100 years. As we have seen before, the world has changed drastically in the past 100 years. Just 100 years ago, in the year 1845, the concept of self-powered flying machines seemed as ridiculous an idea as ever to many. Through this great industrial revolution, the world has seen more change than ever before. Keep this in mind as we go over our predictions for the next 100 years. In 100 years, I predict that man will have stepped foot on other celestial bodies, such as the moon and the planet Mars. In 100 years, I predict that the average man will get his news and entertainment from a variety of sources. Big companies will no longer have a monopoly on the news and entertainment people enjoy. I predict that in 100 years, cars will no longer be constrained to the ground. They will have the ability to fly in the air at will, and the energy that powers the cars will come from the sun. In 100 years, I predict that television sets will get increasingly smaller. I predict that television sets will shrink to the point that they can fit on our wristwatches. I think that in 100 years, there will be film cameras at every street corner. They will be put in place in the name of our safety, but our freedoms will increasingly vanish. We will trade our freedom for safety. We will allow our rights to be eroded because the authorities tell us it will keep our children safe. Now, remember, these are only predictions, not prophecy. Maybe someday a future man will look back on them. Good day.
The president continues to grow, the result of the president's temperament and inexperience in governing.
Well, some
He
of
is
his
the first man to assume the presidency without either political, elected or appointed or military experience.
Until then, we will have to wait
Trump
and
is
see
finding
if
that
his
governing the
predictions are
country is far different than ruling
We at
over a
Apex
closely
TV
held
recently
family
interviewed a
corporation.
man who claims to have a
With all
picture
this
from
said,
the future.
the question
We're going to
remains,
release the
will
video
Trump
very
complete
soon.
his four-year term?
To stay updated, subscribe
If Barbara
and
Vanga's
turn on
prediction comes
notifications.
true, there are 5 Oval Office exit paths.
We will see you in the next
Impeachment,
video.
the use of the 25th Amendment, death by natural causes, assassination and resignation. Many Democrats and some Republicans in Congress have begun to talk about impeachment to remove the president from office. Finally, Trump might resign the presidency before his term is up. He recently noted his surprise that the presidency is a lot harder than he expected.
Here is it.
This man claims he has been to the year 5000. We sat down for an interview in an undisclosed location as he told us his story. He claims to have brought back an actual picture from the future. Watch this and decide for
China and
yourself.
Japan indefinitely.
Hello, everyone.
The rage expressed in China
My
towards
name is
Japan these
Edward.
days over history is
You're
the
in the
tip of a
media
much
now.
larger iceberg.
Now is February.
Baba Vanga seems to be
Please
right on the
keep it in
money
your
with his
mind.
prediction as Japan's
Very
Navy and
important
Coast Guard in recent years
Which
have also
about
been
you will
under
know
increasing
further.
pressure to respond to China's campaign of
I will
incursions
tell
into
you
Japan's
a story
territorial
which will
waters and
amaze you.
frequent transits
You
of
will
vessels
be
and aircraft
astonished.
through the numerous straits of the
The
Japanese
event
archipelago.
I'm going to tell you
More than a
happened in
quarter
Solipsism.
century of Chinese defense
In Los
increases have
Angeles,
amounted to an
United
overall
States of
tenfold increase in military spending.
where I lived for
This
6
has had
years.
serious implications for the Japan
For you,
Maritime
I can
Self-Defense
tell that
Force, as
there
its
was a
potential
huge
Chinese
Armenian
adversaries are
diaspora
now better armed
in
and
Los
trained than ever.
Angeles, if you don't know about
As a result, we'll imagine
As
that
I
in our
told,
future conflict, both
I've
navies
been
are
living
poised
in the
against
United
one another,
States for
with the
6
Chinese
years.
force on the offensive and the
I was
Japanese on the
working as a
defensive.
technical support engineer in a laboratory. My work was about to observe all
Earthquake
technical
tsunami to split
equipment in
Oregon,
place
USA.
and to follow the
According to the blind
volcanic
prophet,
lines of
Oregon,
the
USA
gadgets.
will witness a catastrophic earthquake
Our
and tsunami that
laboratory
will
was a
literally split
secret
apart portions
governmental
of the West
object
Coast in the
which
year
was
2018.
specified as a
This
sphere
prediction
of
seems to be very
technical
true as more than
inventions.
150 volunteer
That years
experts from
we
the
were
Oregon
testing the
Seismic
new
Safety
generation
Policy Advisory
touchscreens.
Commission predict that a
We
9 to
wanted to make
11.5
people's life
magnitude
more,
earthquake and subsequent
much more
tsunami will
easier.
occur off the coast of
In a
Oregon
secret,
within
I can
the
tell
next
you
year.
that all
The big
inventions
questions are,
you
when will
use
it exactly
or
occur,
going to
and will
use
Oregon be
are
prepared?
already exist in
The
military
possible
services
source of this
in
catastrophic
army
earthquake tsunami
way
split
longer
is the
before you
Cascadia
know about
subduction
them.
zone, a
Our laboratory
1,287
was
kilometer
top
crack in
secret.
the Earth's crust
I
97
observed
kilometers offshore
there
from Oregon.
very randomly.
The
I
Juan
just
de Fuca
pulled
and
one
North
job
American
with
continental
very
tectonic
low
plates
humor.
create the subduction zone,
I went to
which is
United
considered the
States
quietest
when I
subduction
was
zone in the world, but is currently
so
thought
I
to be
needed a
hiding one of
job
the biggest seismic
was ready
events of
to
the
accept
century.
any
In the
proposal.
Pacific Northwest,
So this was the
communities
way
are debating
how
how
I
to save
appeared
lives
there.
from a tsunami triggered by a massive
That was a
earthquake that's
laboratory
overdue.
in a building which was
During the
located
regular
in a
earthquake and
very
tsunami
evident
drills,
place.
students at an
Was
elementary school
visible
in
as an
Westport,
ordinary
Washington,
office.
practiced
Nobody
going to the
could
top floor.
consider it as a secret
But with the Pacific
governmental
Ocean just a few
organization.
thousand feet away,
I always was a
scientists say
very
these
open
drills
person
might be
and
futile
finding
because the
friendship
inevitable
or just
tsunami
good
could be higher than the
relationships
school.
in any place
The big
was
one,
only a question of some
scientists
weeks.
say, is overdue.
So I was very close
There's
in
nothing
touch
that
with my
compares to a
colleagues.
magnitude 11.5
Best friend
earthquake
of
that North
mine
America
was
has experienced in human history,
James was a
Goldfinger says.
scientist in our
Similar
talking
to what
event.
happened in Japan,
He was
FEMA
working
estimates
on
in that
equipment,
case that
most
tsunami
of
could hit
which
some
you
areas
know
within
as
15
brand
minutes.
new gadgets. You will never see a persons like James on TV,
Military
hear
robot
about
soldiers.
them on radio, or read how they
During
get
one of
a
Baba
Nobel
Vanga's
Prize.
intense and prophetic visions,
The reason
he
is
envisioned a world
that the
engaging in
people
wars
like
with
James
robotic
are
soldiers.
not showman
Baba Vanga
scientists.
also envisioned this happening
They
in
are
the year
working on real
2018.
projects. Government
Baba Vanga seems to
rated
have
as
gotten this
top
prediction
secret.
spot on as the
All
Pentagon
the
recently
scientists,
announced that it
who
was
about
investing
you know,
millions to develop
are just
prototypes
a
for a
mask
combined
to
arms
cover
squad.
real projects that are
These
doing for
state-of-the-art military units will
space,
consist of
and
human
weapons
soldiers
for
and
army.
robots that are aimed at
You know,
maximizing
as James
performance
used
on
to
future
say,
battlefields.
even my wife think that I'm
According to
working on
defense
some
experts, combat
ecological
robots will rapidly become an
regeneration
inherent
machine.
part of U.S. fighting
The honor
forces.
of James was a really
Washington
big
is apparently
summary.
seeking to gain
I don't want
military
to
edge
say
over
that
China,
I
Russia, and
recommend
other
tsunami,
rivals
but
investing in
I
research and
will
development
compare
of
James'
robotic
payment
systems.
with some
Mr.
country's
Bassett
budget.
said, intelligent robotic weapons,
Now you will ask
they're a
why I'm
reality,
talking
and they will be
about
much
James
more of a
so
reality
much.
in the coming years.
Because he has a very
At some
big
point
role
around
in our history.
2025 or thereabouts, the
I'm
U.S.
sharing
Army will
it with
actually
you
have
now.
more combat robots
We
than
will
it
work
will
till
have human
7
soldiers.
But the
In the
scientists
meantime,
till 6
Russia
p.m.
is also
You
developing
know, I
similar
had never
robots to
seen
match the
James went
increasingly
home
demanding
in that
requirements
hour.
of the
He
battlefield.
always stay late working on his projects. About such persons as James, there is saying he is
Human
mad
organ
of his
cloning.
job. Once I had to go late because
According
one
to
of
the Blind
computers
Prophet,
had some problems
2018
and
will
I
mark the year that humans
had
will
to
introduce
fix it.
organ cloning to the world.
It was already 10 p.m.
This prediction looks
When
very
I
strong
was
as
going
just
home,
recently scientists have
suddenly
turned
I
the skin
saw
cells of a
how
pensioner into
James
stem
went out
cells,
from
which can
the
grow
building
into any type of
carrying
tissue
a
in the
huge
body.
equipment with him.
Human
I
tissues
stood
and
back
organs which exactly
for him
match the
not to
DNA of a
notice.
patient could be created through
But
human
he
cloning.
caught my sight. James
Human
breathed
cloning
for
has
a
been used
moment
to create stem
and
cells
put
for
it into
adults
his
for the
car
first
and
time in a
moved away.
breakthrough which could lead to tissue and organs being
The next
regrown.
day he asked me,
Using
"Did
the
someone
cloning
else
technique
saw
which
me?"
produced
I
Dolly the
told
sheep
him,
in
"Nobody except me."
1996, researchers were able
Then he
for the
asked
first time to
if I
turn
told
adult
about
human
it
skin
to
cells
anyone.
into stem cells,
Of course I
which
said
can grow
no,
into
he
any type
was
of
my
tissue in
friend
the
and
body.
I couldn't think anything
Remarkably,
else
they even
before I
managed to
stick
do
to
it
him.
with the cells of a pensioner, a
So James
75-year-old
invited me
man,
to
raising
dinner
the prospect that body
evening
parts
after
could be
the war.
regenerated in old age.
So the work hour
The
was
breakthrough could
over.
lead to new tissue
He
transplant
came to my
operations
room.
for a range of
We got up to
debilitating
his car
disorders
and went
such as
to a
Parkinson's
luxury
disease,
restaurant.
multiple
Then he
sclerosis,
finally
heart
starts
disease,
to
and
speak.
spinal cord injuries, and
Told
much
that
more, which can
yesterday
ultimately
he
save
carried
millions
out
of
from the
lives.
laboratory an equipment on which he was working during this last 1
Venus
year.
will become our second home.
It was only part of huge
2018 will be the year that
James
humans
told
will
me
begin
that he wants
experimenting
me
and
to be
discovering
his
a new
assistant
energy source on the planet,
because I was
Venus,
not
according
like
to the
that
famous
ordinary
prophet Baba Vanga.
Americans who are afraid to break
They will even fly to the planet to
We
take
went out
samples
from
and to
the
establish a
first
colony. Venus is
Set
the
into the
second
car
planet
and
from the Sun and is
after
referred
half
to
an
as
hour,
Earth's sister
we
planet
came
because
to
of their
the
similar size,
With
mass,
all the time
gravity,
roads
and
I
Sun and
was
bulk
given
composition.
questions. James'
This prediction
answers
is
were
definitely
always
coming true as
same.
NASA is currently
You'll
studying the
understand
possibility of sending a
when
manned
we'll reach
mission
the
into the
place.
relatively benign
So
atmosphere of
finally,
Venus.
we entered
The concept involves sending an
Both
aeroshell that would contain a
these
folded
homes,
helium
they
airship
shall
in the
go
planet's
east
atmosphere at
of
30 miles above
that
the
nobody
planet's
knows
surface.
about.
The gravity Atmosphere and radiation protection is similar to that of Earth. The Space Agency says the mission could involve creating a floating blimp city for a permanent manned presence. Imagine a blimp city floating 30 miles above the scorching surface of Venus, a home for a team of astronauts studying one of the solar system's most inhospitable planets. NASA is currently doing just that, floating a concept that could one day see a 30-day manned mission to Earth's closest planetary neighbor. Eventually, the mission could involve a permanent human presence suspended above the planet. Let's see what the future reveals.
We went to the room opposite and he showed me an electronic generator, which he was carrying out from the laboratory last night. And I asked him, what should I do? How should I help him? James told that he wants me to be an experimental rat, do the time travel. I was shocked and denied his proposal, but then he told me that after my journey, he will resolve my problem about citizenship, and I would become an American citizen. At the time I have difficulties because of that, couldn't earn enough money for my life. Besides it, as everyone, I had my American dream too. So let me tell you about main thing. Yes, as you have guessed, I accepted the invitation. I sat down on the metallic chair, and he gave me a strange gadget. He told me that it's a special...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to talk about a rather serious topic, the future.
Have already come true. Some people say that the only way
I
this man
realized
knows
it
so
was the
much
same
about
city, Los Angeles.
or someone he knew was an
Underwater.
actual time traveler.
Yes,
Listen
it
to
was
this.
blue
Decide
and the
for
whole
yourself.
city was
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to talk about a rather serious topic, the future. What does the future hold? Today we are going to make some predictions. Maybe someday man will look back on such predictions. The year, as you know, is 1945. 100 years from now, it will be 2045. It is difficult to imagine the state of the world in 100 years. As we have seen before, the world has changed drastically in the past 100 years. Just 100 years ago, in the year 1845, the concept of self-powered flying machines seemed as ridiculous an idea as ever to many. Through this great industrial revolution, the world has seen more change than ever before. Keep this in mind as we go over our predictions for the next 100 years. In 100 years, I predict that man will have stepped foot on other celestial bodies, such as the moon and the planet Mars. In 100 years, I predict that the average man will get his news and entertainment from a variety of sources. Big companies will no longer have a monopoly on the news and entertainment people enjoy. I predict that in 100 years, cars will no longer be constrained to the ground. They will have the ability to fly in the air at will, and the energy that powers the cars will come from the sun. In 100 years, I predict that television sets will get increasingly smaller. I predict that television sets will shrink to the point that they can fit on our wristwatches. I think that in 100 years, there will be film cameras at every street corner. They will be put in place in the name of our safety, but our freedoms will increasingly vanish. We will trade our freedom for safety. We will allow our rights to be eroded because the authorities tell us it will keep our children safe. Now, remember, these are only predictions, not prophecy. Maybe someday a future man will look back on them. Good day.
sky. As some of your many of his predictions are intact, while some of his predictions may not have yet been true. Keep in mind that as the years of energy,
Civilization was
we will have to wait and see if these predictions are 100% accurate.
I
We at
went
Apex
out
TV
from the
recently
house
interviewed a
when
man
the
beginning of the
photo
film we can see from the writers left us. We are going to
Top
release the video
camera
very soon.
I'm in America.
Stay updated
In
and
Spain. In a city.
also
On Earth.
as in
Then
It's
they
you.
came to
I
me
was
and
all these places all at the same time. There's something out there. It's just a question
people
of
were living
chance.
with kilometers. People were big and doesn't
I've heard that this is not the only universe that exists, and many others identical copies of us can be found.
Professor offered lot was travelers of here and
Is it
asked
possible to find
level of season.
This man claims he has been to the year 10,000. We took a flight to Greece to speak with the man regarding his story. He claims to have brought back an actual picture of the future. Watch this and decide for yourself.
Imagine now, my name is not here, but now I know that you have WhatsApp system with many, and it shows how time machines until many diseases. But my story is different. You will know about it.
Yes,
Virus
there's a multiplicity
Rushmore.
of
It
happened
with me
in.
in
It might be hard to pick which
2008.
cosmic twin you meet.
Everything began.
Somewhere out there in the depth of space, there's another me looking up at a night sky very similar to our own. She's my physical cosmic twin. Right now, I happen to be at MIT. I've come to speak to theoretical physicist Max Tegmark. He tells me that the universe is so big that other versions of us could be found out there. This idea is based on basic probability. The reason we assume it's so big is because of the theory of inflation. In a blink of an eye, the universe expanded to what we see today. This is inflation, and it's our best model for what happened just after the Big Bang.
In the simplest version of inflation, space isn't just much bigger than the part of space that we can see, but actually infinite, in which case there is exactly another Melissa, and then lots of others, almost Melissas. One named Smilissa, and one named Philissa, and Larissa, and so on, and speaking all sorts of different languages, and they still look exactly like you.
And making the same decisions and having the same thoughts about...
Atom for atom identicals. But you don't really need infinity here. I can say a number like 10 to the 10 to the 10, that were the universe of that size, the probability of doppelgangers becomes enormously high. And the numbers of doppelgangers becomes very large.
All possible variations on your twinness would be played out somewhere.
So for each identical me, there would be many more almost me's, all within this universe. Out there somewhere, I'm good, I'm evil, I'm a horse, I'm a sentient comet hurtling through space, I'm a giant towering over the trees. For these versions to exist, all they need is to abide by the physical laws that govern our universe. But there's another version of inflation, known as eternal inflation, where literally anything goes. I'm a cube. I'm this thing. I'm a ball of pure energy.
And inflation is a very creative force. When it keeps making more and more space, it makes regions of space of all different kinds.
With O2, just £20 gets you a massive 20 gig of data.
I want to tell you about the universe. What it is, how it came to be, what its building blocks are. I want to tell you how the future creates the past, which then creates the future. But first, I want to tell you about crystals. You might be surprised to know that a crystal isn't an expensive piece of glass or a chandelier in some fancy dining room. The word crystal simply means a pattern that is periodic. Look at this checkerboard pattern. See how it continues to spread out infinitely in each direction? That means it's a periodic pattern. So that's a two-dimensional crystal. This is another two-dimensional crystal. And this is another. You can also have three-dimensional crystals. By the way, this 3D glass is called crystal because its atoms are actually arranged in a crystalline pattern. So, see how I'm projecting this three-dimensional crystal to a two-dimensional image on the sand? See how the 2D projection looks distorted because of the angle of the projection? That 2D image also has a pattern, but it isn't periodic. So, it's not a crystal. But there's a deep connection between the 2D object on the sand and the 3D mother crystal. This distorted 2D pattern is called a quasi-crystal. A quasi-crystal in a certain dimension, in this case 2D, is a projection of a crystal in a higher dimension, in this case 3D. A group of physicists in Los Angeles is working on a new physics theory for a particular 8D crystal. Yep, that's right. An 8-dimensional crystal is projected to 4D at a very particular angle, which forms a 4D quasi-crystal. And from this 4D quasi-crystal, they derive a 3D quasi-crystal, which they believe is the fundamental substructure of all of reality. This 3D quasi-crystal has a fundamental building block, a tetrahedron, which is a three-dimensional equilateral triangle. The size of each edge on this shape is the smallest possible length that can exist. This is called the Planck length. It's 10 to the 35 times smaller than a meter. So you know how your TV screen is broken down into building blocks called pixels? A pixel is the smallest possible indivisible unit of the 2D screen. So think of reality as your TV screen, but in 3D. And think of the tetrahedron as a 3D pixel, the smallest possible indivisible unit of reality. The tetrahedra in the quasi-crystal combine with other tetrahedra using complex mathematical rules to fill up all of the space in the universe. Each tetrahedron only has a few specific states in which it can exist at any given moment. And because of the rules of how these pixels connect to each other, if one tetrahedron is in a certain state, this dictates the states of many other tetrahedra throughout all of space.
The imperfections of your real life.
Here's the weird thing. If a certain tetrahedron can be in any one of just a few possible states in a given moment, who or what chooses the state it should be in at any given moment? Well, for such a choice to be made, we need to scientifically, mathematically, and logically bring in a new element into physics. And that element is consciousness. If you're not a scientist, you might be surprised to learn that nobody actually knows the exact value of the speed of light. We have a close approximation, but not the exact value. The closest we can get to measuring it has to do with the precision of our machines. But no matter how precise our machines get, we will never be able to measure the exact speed of light without a theory that tells us what it is and why it is. And none of the current physics theories do that. Oh look, Professor Einstein, you look so cute.
So I look pretty here?
Yes.
No, wait, that's my bad side. But if I
Das ist gut.
what if I stick out my tongue like this?
Na gut.
quantum mechanics both use the speed of light as a starting point. In other words, they use an inexact measurement of the speed of light without explaining why it is, what it is, or why the universe even has a speed limit in the first place.
Just over a year ago, for the third time in my life, I ceased to exist. I was having a small operation. My brain was filling with anesthetic. I remember a sense of detachment and falling apart and coldness. And then I was back, drowsy and disoriented, but definitely there. Now, when you wake from a deep sleep, you might feel confused about the time or anxious about oversleeping, but there's always a basic sense of time having passed, of a continuity between then and now. And coming around from anesthesia is very different. I could have been under for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 years, or even 50 years. I simply wasn't there. It was total oblivion. Anesthesia, it's a modern kind of magic. It turns people into objects, and then we hope back again into people. And in this process is one of the greatest remaining mysteries in science and philosophy. How does consciousness happen? Somehow, within each of our brains, the combined activity of many billions of neurons, each one tiny biological machine, is generating a conscious experience. And not just any conscious experience, your conscious experience right here and right now. How does this happen? Well, answering this question is so important because consciousness for each of us is all there is. Without it, there's no world, there's no self, there's nothing at all. And when we suffer consciously, whether it's through mental illness or pain. And if we can experience joy and suffering, what about other animals? Might they be conscious too? Do they also have a sense of self? And as computers get faster and smarter, maybe there'll come a point, maybe not too far away, when my iPhone develops a sense of its own existence. Now, I actually think the prospects for a conscious AI are pretty remote. And I think this because my research is telling me that consciousness has less to do with pure intelligence and more to do with our nature as living and breathing organisms. Consciousness and intelligence are very different things. You don't have to be smart to suffer, but you probably do have to be alive. And the story I'm going to tell you are conscious experiences of the world around us and of ourselves within it, are kinds of controlled hallucinations that happen with, through, and because of our living bodies. Now, you might have heard that we know nothing about how the brain and body give rise to consciousness. Some people even say it's beyond the reach of science altogether. But in fact, the last 25 years have seen an explosion of scientific work in this area. If you come to my lab at the University of Sussex, you'll find scientists from all different disciplines, and sometimes even philosophers. All of us together trying to understand how consciousness happens and what happens when it goes wrong. And the strategy is very simple. I'd like you to think about consciousness in the way that we've come to think about life. Now, at one time, people thought the property of being alive could not be explained by physics and chemistry, that life had to be more than just mechanism. But people no longer think that, as biologists got on with the job of explaining the properties of living systems in terms of physics and chemistry, things like metabolism, reproduction, homeostasis. The basic mystery of what life is started to fade away. People didn't propose any more magical solutions like a force of life or an elan vital. So as with life, so with consciousness. Once we start explaining its properties in terms of things happening inside brains and bodies, the apparently insoluble mystery of what consciousness is should start to fade away. At least that's the plan. So let's get started. What are the properties of consciousness? What should a science of consciousness try to explain? Well, for today, I'd just like to think of consciousness in two different ways. There are experiences of the world around us, full of sights, sounds, and smells. It's multi-sensory, panoramic, 3D, fully immersive inner movement. And then there's conscious self, the specific experience of being you or being me, the lead character in this inner movie, is probably the aspect of consciousness we all cling to most tightly. Let's start with experiences of the world around us, and with the important idea of the brain as a prediction engine. Now, imagine being a brain. You're locked inside a bony skull, trying to figure what's out there in the world. There's no light inside the skull, there's no sound either. All you've got to go on are streams of electrical impulses which are only indirectly related to things in the world, whatever they may be. So perception, figuring out what's there, has to be a process of informed guesswork in which the brain combines these sensory signals with its prior expectations or beliefs about the way the world is to form its best guess of what caused those signals. The brain doesn't hear sound or see light. What we perceive is its best guess of what's out there in the world. Let me give you a couple of examples of all this. Now, you might have seen this illusion before, but I'd like you to think about it in a new way. If you look at those two patches, A and B, they should look to you to be very different shades of grey, right? But they are, in fact, exactly the same shade. And I can illustrate this if I put up a second version of the image here and join the two patches with a grey-coloured bar. And you can see there's no difference. It's exactly the same shade of grey. And if you still don't believe me, I'll bring the bar across and join them up. It's a single coloured block of grey. There's no difference at all. So this isn't any kind of magic trickery. It's the same shade of grey, but take it away again, and it looks different. So what's happening here is that the brain is using its prior expectations built deeply into the circuits of the visual cortex, that a cast shadow dims the appearance of a surface, so that we see B as lighter than it really is. Here's one more example, which shows just how quickly the brain can use new predictions to change what we consciously experience. Have a listen to this. Sounded strange, right? Have a listen again and see if you can get anything. Still strange. Now listen to this. I think breakfast is a really terrible idea. Which I do. So you heard some words there, right? Now listen to the first sound again. I'm just going to replay it. Yeah? So you can now hear words there. Once more for luck. Okay, so what's going on here is the remarkable thing is the sensory information coming into the brain.
Illustrators and animators
but
make
a controlled
living on
hallucination
YouTube.
in which
This
the brain's
is a crappy
predictions are
animated
being
video I
reined in
created that got
by
over
sensory information from the world.
500,000 views. That
In fact,
video made
we're
me
all
over
hallucinating
$1,000.
all the time,
Here's another video
including
where
right
I
now.
use paper
It's
cutouts
just that
to
when
tell
we
a story
agree
about
about
my
our
social
hallucinations,
anxiety. This
we call
video
that reality.
got over 1.5 million views and made me over $12,000.
Now I'm going to tell you that your experience of being a self, the specific experience of being you, is also a controlled hallucination generated by the brain. Now this seems a very strange idea, right? Yes, visual illusions might deceive my eyes, but how could I be deceived about what it means to be me? For most of us, the experience of being a person is so familiar, so unified, and so continuous that it's difficult not to take it for granted, but we shouldn't take it for
There are
granted.
kids who play with toys and just give their opinion on it. There are gamers who play their favorite video games and put that onto YouTube. All of these people have made a career
out of what they love to do simply by utilizing YouTube. Now, contrary to popular belief, videos on YouTube don't just go viral based on luck. There's a science to it as well. I have spent nearly a decade doing this and have probably made around 1,000 viral videos. Clearly, that's not because I got lucky 1,000 times. Now look, I'm not making this video to show off to you how cool I am. I have Instagram for that. I'm making this video because I want you to know you don't have to accept a mediocre job. You don't have to accept a mediocre life. You can make a living working on your passions by utilizing YouTube. I know that may sound hard, and I get it. It's scary to start something new. You probably don't even know where to start. I was there when I first started as well, so I understand the feeling of uncertainty. That's why my friend Jesse and I created a step-by-step program to teach you exactly how to do it. We've taken everything we learned on our
To prepare for this meditation, which will leave you feeling very relaxed, on a guided meditation journey where you will not be disturbed. Over the next few minutes, I will guide you into a deep state of relaxation, where you will experience a wonderful conscious and meditative state of mind.
Chakra sleep meditation. Welcome to this guided meditation. The gentle way to close your day.
Relax it.
Just time is for you and realign your body, mind and spirit to do anything except relax. Let's begin our practice yourself to high in a place you feel comfortable forming a safe fresh air, entering silencing any distractions. To close your eyes and keep them open. Switch between empty space. Just do whatever it feels right for you. Your shoulder blades are tucked back. Your shoulders are low and over. You're always completely in control. And if at any time during this meditation you wish to return to your relaxed state, and do so simply by opening your eyes. Right now, you're going to take a journey. Stress yourself and interest as you breathe. Now, just breathe yourself. Exhale just fully. The stillness. Let your eyes close. Again, breathe in. Keep your eyes closed and you're able to actually sense the tension in both your body and your spirit. This may be disconcerting at first, so that you allow the sound of the waves to calmly brings mind across them. Right now, you have an opportunity to free any physical tension. Leave the space to release the mental and emotional stress. Exhale. Fully. There is a solution to these habits. Yes, in mind. Take a deep breath in, inviting in meditation. Notice that thoughts and internal mental checkbacks are happening inside your mind. Exhale. This is completely normal. These thoughts will begin to quiet down as you concentrate on listening to the sound of the waves. Allowing yourself to be sitting deeply on that beach. Seconds of relaxation. The stress levels, the shame. As you listen to each wave coming in, that ocean mind gently begins to quiet. Breathe in deeply during this meditation. Exhale fully. Exhale in cool, fresh air from thoughts.
How far will $10 take you this year? Learn from experts around the world on udemy.com. Explore tens of thousands of online courses with lifetime access. Learning finally fits your schedule. So this year, you will learn to cope, find, solve, build and launch, craft, play, and save, and to rise like you always knew you would.
face. Now, as you feel yourself feeling more right down to your toes,
guided chakra
I'm going to count to travel
as you notice tension.
allow as we count each number, sinking into a state of blissful and relaxed until you reach the sense of complete and wonderful relaxation.
Ultimate guide mindfulness meditation, which you can listen to daily or just a couple of times for a shorter period,
5.
or for longer times as you
Feeling bliss, relaxed.
There are many benefits to mindfulness meditation, which you may find for yourself as you continue to practice.
Allowing the sound of the waves to calm your mind.
To help reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression,
as you grow relaxed. Your attention is on the exercise as you connect with the natural rhythms of the universe to shines your connection to soul and to the body.
Do not listen to this recording whilst driving or whilst
Enhances
operating.
your
Only listen when you can safely relax and bring your full awareness to your own complete comfort.
This chakra is your sense of experience, the blissful serenity
Oh, this is Michael Steve.
relaxation.
This guided meditation for mindfulness-based body scan, relaxation, and awareness. It is also a life trance exercise
Distrust
to promote internal health with the connection of your mind
at its best.
and your body.
This chakra allows you to
When
connect
performed
with
regularly,
wisdom,
the simple process of this body scan can bring many positive benefits, such as physiological stress release and improved
if you have struggled with any of these
a more
areas,
positive mental
or
outlook,
simply wish to
a
boost your
calm
courage and
and
resourcefulness.
attitude in general,
Imagine
and
this
also a
healthy
healthy
side
side
of
of
your strong to continuous
acceptance.
each inhale.
Daily
Feel
meditation
your
is
strength
not
and
scientific
is growing with each
also health for the body.
even as your
As I
body
listen to
sinks into a
all
deeper
intentions
sense of
now,
calm.
you are continually improving health as you listen.
You drift deeper into relaxation. Take a few moments to enjoy this wonderful experience and serenity to you.
So begin now by taking the first breath to position yourself comfortably.
Enjoy being here in this quiet place.
Allow your body to settle and yet remain simple, alert, and awake.
And awareness continues up your spine to rest just above
Allow
your
your
pelvis.
thoughts to calm and settle, and
This is your sacral
conscious
chakra,
of your wakeful
represented by the orange light. Take a moment to sense the energy of this chakra. Is the orange light brilliantly colored, or does it emit just a dull glow?
whenever you're ready.
Gently sense to flow freely and without judgment as you listen to the wisdom of this chakra. The second chakra is your center for emotions. You may wish to remain in this deeply relaxed state for a while after this recording has ended, in which case you don't need to do anything unusual resides here, as does the drive to create things that share our gifts and talents with. To resume your day, simply take a few breaths of any of these things can result in an imbalance or sense of disease in these areas. So, as you listen to the wisdom of your body, feel your breath stoking the fire of your second chakra, restoring energy and vitality, breathing in and out.
And notice wherever it is, let thoughts disappear to as they go.
shows is the home of your willpower and sense of belonging.
As you notice those sensations, as you inhale,
as you notice the way it looks and feels.
Often
we may inadvertently use repeating affirmations in a negative way, telling ourselves that we are ill, we are afraid, or useless. And each time we tell ourselves these things, or are told them, we believe it, and these negative thoughts can take root, affecting what happens in our lives. Every breath you take. Thankfully, it is possible to retrain our minds by using positive affirmations. As the light brightens, you can by repeating them, these too will become rooted in our minds until we come to believe them, increasing in strength. As you let go, in a few moments, you will hear some wonderfully powerful affirmations. When you hear them, simply repeat them to yourself, out loud if possible. But if not, then say them silently in your mind. As you say each affirmation, imagine it being completely true and is already in your life. Feel the positive essence of the words as you repeat them. Be relaxed with them and permit them to merge with your mind and become a part of you. Relaxation. Your consciousness calm and at ease. We recommend that these life affirmations should be practiced daily. Resting at your heart. Okay, here we go. This chakra, like the ancient heart symbol, represents love and compassion for yourself and others. In its purest, I stand within this universe of possibilities. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Love is a part of everything, from the way you order a meal at a restaurant to the way you hold your sitting comes into my life. For many of us, love is a subject tainted with anger, pain, and distrust. Knowing there is no right or wrong to this. As you breathe, there is no your mind to disconnect from past life attracts that experience sensation beliefs that may limit your ability to love others without reason or expectation. A simple technique by breathing in as you do so, clean, fresh air entering, I attract healthy relationships. Exhale and release any tension you may be feeling through your breath. My life has a positive impact on the world. Oxygen to your feet. Take another deep breath and feel any tension leaving your body as you slowly exhale. I have amazing strength within me. Now feeling rise to the higher. Now stopping as you allow your breathing to fall into a bright blue light that emanates from this part of your spiritual consciousness. I am kind and attract kindness, as well as the tops, sharing our creativity and ideas, and moderating the balance of sharing and listening. Now both feet entirely. As you breathe a little deeper and soften, feeling muscle tension dissolving, I sleep peacefully and wake up refreshed. If this blue light is as vibrant as you would like. Now, as you continue to breathe, that helps. Is there something that you need to say that you haven't yet? And breathing out all tension. Have you said something you regret? Take your awareness now into your calves. Do you balance your speaking with listening? Beautiful things are coming into my life. Muscles. If
as this light
I
grows
follow my
brighter,
dreams with passion and certainty.
Sitting
more pure,
in your holding,
feel your body sink a little deeper into your bed. The blankets around you soothing your body
comfortable
as your spirit grows stronger
with that
and
cushion
brighter
at your limbs,
than
accepting
ever before.
whatever it is that you can feel.
I love and approve of myself. You can see the blue and green ocean.
And if you notice any discomfort or tightness, then just allow your mind to remain impartial to that discomfort or tightness.
I see beauty, its grace and goodness in myself.
Curiosity.
And before gently withdrawing.
Above this bright blue light is the darker, regal
Notice the
your
sensation
sixth chakra,
in the
the
calm,
third eye
as
chakra.
the sensations at the
I
front
can
of the
praise
head.
myself and feel it is deserved. Stirs the palm
And governs your ability to see
Slightly flexing
and
the
understand.
lower legs now, if you wish, and sensing those small
Seeing
movements
in this context does not just imply the physical act of viewing what is around you.
I constantly live in the expectation of good things
It
happening
allows
to
you
me.
to perceive the meaning of what you witness.
Now, direct your healing intention
Allow yourself
as you
to
send your
reflect
breath
on whether
into
you
the
have been
calm
missing the obvious
and around
or
to the
seeing
front
things
of your
where
shield.
there are
I am not my past. I am creating my
If you
own
find
future.
yourself skewed one way or another, simply allow your breath to realign your body and spirit as you feel your intuitive self
Allowing
grow
your body's
in
natural
confidence
warmth
and
and
clarity.
I am good enough.
peaceful.
I am very good enough.
Eyes. Notice the sensations that come with it so you understand.
Loosen
The third eye begins to communicate through your physical presence.
feeling those
I am
changes
fulfilled
of
and
sensation
grateful.
as all muscles and fibers and nerves just let go.
I am gifted.
Now shift your attention to your thighs, taking your awareness into the upper leg,
Peace is your
sensing
body.
whatever it is you can
And
feel
now
in your
your
thighs.
awareness reaches your seventh chakra, the crown chakra, which inhabits no
The
physical
answers
space
are
in your body,
always before me,
but
even
instead
if I do not
hovers
see
above
them.
your skull like a halo.
Relax into the chair.
Feeling the muscles
Some people perceive this chakra as a royal
The
purple,
small breeze is
while
warm
others
against
see
your
it
skin.
as brilliant white, the combination of all other colours of light.
naturally connect
I have faith in
where
myself.
muscles connect
Whatever you may
attach
see here,
to bone.
allow your consciousness to
There is
ponder the phrase,
peace here.
I know,
Tranquility.
for it is this mantra
Awareness
that
to the
guides
whole
this
of your
chakra.
thighs.
Out of time.
Boredom, depression,
I feel confidence growing
Before
daily.
taking a
imbalance
deeper
in
breath,
this area,
you may visualize
for it is the
all
crown
the
chakra
healthy
that
energy
helps us focus
contained
not
within
on
your
ourselves as individuals, but on ourselves as a part of a greater whole. So breathe in.
brain. Now directed
Welcome
into
I
the
practice self-care
being
and love.
of something greater
As you rest,
and feel your physical being revels in the unity of mind,
deepest parts,
body,
all the way into the smallest cells, molecules, and atoms
breathe in
of your body.
into relaxation.
let go.
I am safe, and flow will be well. Bring healing and serenity to you.
Now take your awareness to the buttocks and the hips, feeling sensations across the pelvis. and
My
the hip
mind,
joints
body,
being
and spirit
healed
are healing. This quiet place. This haven of peace.
Just acknowledge and accept any sensations you observe. Now
I see the beauty in people
Give yourself
and in the
to
world.
understand the
breathing
way
to allow
alignment
the
feels in
soft
your body.
and loosened pelvis.
self-care each day. Feel the strength and confidence that comes from being totally aligned. Body, mind, and spirit working together in perfect concert.
Now, continue your breath.
I am talented, discovering new talents all the time.
Permission you need to relax for allowing that healthy, healing breath. Oxygenate,
giving yourself a sense of deep relaxation and wholeness. I am building a new and wonderful life for myself. In tune with the tremendous power of self.
Now, bring your
as the spoken part of this meditation draws to a close,
noticing the
I acknowledge my own self-worth.
Easily and freely.
Enjoy the sensations of harmony and peace as you feel your mind. I expect good health as your body follows suit.
As the stomach rises,
breathe,
feel the sensation.
I've been working on this project that helps you
comfort, healing and hope, health, abundance and happiness are all coming into my life.
Feeling into the center of your breath energy now. Allowing your awareness to expand into the space of your body's deepest energies.
Welcome to I Am and Improve Your Affirmations for Self-Meditation and Belief. I present to you here affirmations that you can speak on a regular basis, preferably morning and night, twice per day. These affirmations are based on a healthy,
Find a time
where you can be egotistical love. It's not about make yourself comfortable. It's simply about self-respect, knowing that you are worthy and believing in yourself. Over time, we have heard so many comments. Take a deep breath from our friends, our parents, our teachers, and release slowly. We're not good enough. We're not going to make the cut. Well, it's now time to change that. Begin to stand up and take charge of yourself. And imagine yourself breathing out hot, tense. At first, when you repeat these affirmations, you need stress simply between yourself. This is okay, and this is a part of change. And the old saying, fake it to make it, comes to my mind. Just to sense where your body is most tense. And over time, just like you accept negative affirmations, imagine that part of you relaxing more and more. You will be time to accept these affirmations of positive self-worth and self-love. All you need to do is to listen to the affirmation first. I say it twice. First time listen, you can say it with me, and then I leave a space for you to say it out loud. To spread through you say it out loud, or you can mentally repeat each breath. Go with love. Believe in who you are, and believe you have so much to offer, because you do. You do. Please enjoy affirmations. I am beautiful. Affirmations for self-love and belief.
Bring your awareness to your upper back.
I am beautiful in all ways. A place where I am beautiful in all ways and at peace.
And sensing into the space.
I respect who I am. You lived. Went on I respect who I am. Somewhere that only exists within your mind. I am confident in all aspects of myself. About you in vivid I am confident in all aspects of myself. My beauty as you natural. Breathe, smell the scent. My beauty is natural. The expansion of the sounds around you. Energy there. I am confident with who I am. All that is there. I am confident fill my mind with positive thoughts. I fill my mind with positive thoughts. I attract so much beauty into my life. I attract so much beauty into my life. I'm going to say some very powerful affirmations into your spine. The key to them being powerful is to repeat them to yourself whilst imagining that every word is true for you right now. I love me just the way you can say them silently in your mind or speak them out aloud. Just the way I am. What's important is to say the words with sincerity, I am comfortable and confidence. I am comfortable in my own skin. Here we go. I am free of negativity. I am free of negativity. I value myself as a person. Simply flows out. I like the person I am becoming. I like the person I am becoming. I love all aspects of my body. I love all aspects of my body. I deserve to be healthy and happy. I can see the true beauty that I am. I can see the true beauty that I am. I deserve my life to be wonderful. I see beauty within and without. I see beauty within times of self-doubt to pass like a cloud, knowing that my positive feelings will endure. I think positive thoughts about myself and others. I think positive thoughts about myself. I am anticipating a wonderful future and I am enjoying life now as I journey to I validate myself on a daily basis. I validate myself on a daily basis. And now breathing in, I embrace my past self, and I promise I will be good to myself, mind, body, and spirit. I have an attractive mind, body, and spirit. Notice the feel. I accept myself. I like the person I'm becoming. And breathing into I like the person I am becoming. I care about myself to continue to I like the person I see in the mirror. I like the person I see in the mirror. Paying attention with your awareness across the floor. Feeling good about myself is my natural birthright. Feeling good about myself is my natural birthright. Think of all the good things that you have done. How I believe in special I am 100%. I believe in who I am 100%. Others can see my beauty shine forth. Others can see my beauty shine forth. I am worthy of seeing myself as beautiful. I am worthy of seeing myself as beautiful.
With closed eyes, allow yourself to rest into your being.
I am accepted over truth all negative aspects that present themselves in my life.
Feel yourself.
I am powerful to overcome all negative aspects that present themselves in my life. Now take a deep breath and hold those thoughts in your heart.
Take a deep breath in fully.
I confront what I need to do with
and relax into the
special and incredible. I confront what I need to do wonderful things are going to happen to you. Feel supernatural beneath you as you sit comfortably.
Ideal
Connected to the environment around you.
Accept it. Ideal. And return to these affirmations whenever you desire to boost your self-image.
Become aware of the sounds you may be hearing.
I have the inner strength to face life head on. I have the inner strength
Any
to
lights
face
or colours
head
you may see protruding through your eyelids.
I am confident in the person I am.
Take a full breath in
I am confident in the
and
person
let it
I
all
am
out.
becoming. I have all.
Allow your mind to empty what is no longer needed or not all. Let it go, throwing atoms that away.
Each day I focused on my inner strength. Each day
Allow your body to release what is no longer needed. Let it go, flowing out and away.
I protect myself against any word that comes my way. I protect myself against any word that comes my way. Taking a large walk. Life presents to me joyous circumstances. Life presents to me joyous circumstances.
Begin to sense the space.
Breathing so strong each day I become aware of resting and falling strong each day. I love me and I am worthy to have goodness in my life.
Breathe down to where the weight of your body rests,
Worthy to have
below the base of your
in
spine,
my life.
to your root, your chakra of belonging.
I am naturally strong. I
Let
am
it soften
strong.
and gently expand on your breath, taking in nourishment and life force.
My inner treasures
That's what
shine
we did in exercise.
We
Have
will
give
give
you
my
some
inner treasures shine
may help you
for
to stop engaging.
Allow your roots to connect down to ground below,
I am beautiful
deep
in
into
all
the earth.
ways.
Many of us tell ourselves stories around the ears.
I respect who I am.
The universe has
And
been
envision
expanded
a light of glowing red energy
years.
surrounding the base of your spine,
Is still shrouded
I am
empowering,
confident in all
embodying,
aspects of myself.
grounding
I am
here
confident in
and
all
now.
aspects of myself.
Circular because our brain is told to keep us
My
alive.
beauty is natural.
In this series, we explore competing models for what happened
Let your
after
root
even
take
before
what is
the
needed.
Big Bang.
Interesting.
But whatever the cause was for
I
the
am
universe,
confident with
one
who
can
I
still
am.
ask,
I
what
am
caused
accepted
that?
as I am.
And what caused that?
Enjoying
And
yourself
what caused that?
has not been
Is there a way out of this problem? Is it possible
I
that the
realize
universe has no first cause? Could the universe create itself? The very notion may seem outrageous, but some scientists have argued that Einstein's theory of general relativity may allow the universe to bootstrap itself into existence. One of these scientists is Princeton University's Professor Richard Gott.
Creativity, movement,
I attract so much beauty into my
And I got into this astronomy while I was 8 years old. I was very excited about the Big Bang. Even at that time before it had been proven by Francis Wilson discovering the cosmic microwave background. And interestingly, I worked with a graduate student and got to run the telescope that discovered the microwave background all night.
glowing
I would
orange light
occasionally turn it over
as you breathe.
and see the thermal radiation.
Color.
Einstein's theory of general relativity, with its curving of space-time, leads to a radical revision of how we understand the passage of time.
I do not need
Time does not have a uniform flow like a
I allow myself
it's
to be nourished.
variable. depends on how fast you're moving, depends on how deep a gravitational well you're moving. Clocks on Earth tick slower than clocks at high altitude. And so this is important in your GPS.
Moving your awareness.
They put this general relativity effect in. If you didn't put that in, your GPS would tell you the wrong location.
But you consider your location as here. So we recognize that the notion of here is subjective. What relativity tells us is that the notion of now is also subjective. The past doesn't disappear when you leave it, just like your location doesn't disappear when you leave it. This is because the speed of light is the same for all observers. Speed is simply distance over time, and if the speed of light is absolute, then distance and time must be relative. This leads us to a new view of space and time, known as the block universe.
Time is like a fourth dimension. What about now? Two observers traveling on rocket ships at different speeds in special relativity have different ideas of simultaneity. So I say these events are simultaneous, the rocket guy has these events are simultaneous. It's like you have a loaf of bread. I slice it like American bread. Okay? That's one instance, that's another instance, that's another instance. Okay? The moving astronaut, he slices it on a slant, like French bread. Okay?
Focus now.
And he's those events are simultaneous. Those events are simultaneous. He and I disagree on which event occurs first, this event, and so on. The loaf is the same. We can both agree on the loaf. This idea of the block universe has been very productive. It's given us equals mc squared. It's given us all the results of special relativity.
The faster an object travels, the slower its clock will tick. Travel at the speed of light, and time stands still.
And invite
If you could travel faster than light, then you move backwards in time.
There was a young lady called Brian who traveled far faster than light. She left one day in a relative way and returned home the previous night. So, no trouble with that. Einstein showed you in special relativity you couldn't build a rocket that would go faster than the speed of light. So, in 1915, though, he invented the theory of general relativity, curved space-time. So now, there's a loophole. You can beat a light beam by taking a shortcut through a wormhole, going around the cosmic string.
In the 1930s, when many academics fled Europe due to growing anti-Semitism, both Einstein and mathematician Kurt Gödel found themselves in Amsterdam. The two of them would go for long walks, presumably discussing relativity, as Kurt Gödel, in one of his few contributions to physics, found solutions to Einstein's equations that could allow time travel into the past. These have become known as time-like curves. Many decades later, Mr. Thought, carrying on the same tradition, found something to travel.
Time-like curves, time travel to the past. These are general relativity solutions that are sufficiently twisted that they allow the time travel to circle back to distant events. So, this started out when I found an exact solution to Einstein's field equation for a cosmic string. Cosmic string is a thin piece of vacuum energy left over from the Big Bang. There's a negative pressure along the direction of the string, and positive energy. And this is like when the vacuum decays, it's like snow melting, and you're left with a few snowmen. And we're looking for these. We haven't found them yet, but they're predicted in many things. When the strings move fast enough, but still slower than the speed of light, but close to the speed of light, you could circle them and come back to the net in your own path. So this is a time travel solution. Like a number of time travel solutions in general relativity, there was originally Kurt Gödel found a rotating universe that had closed time-like curves like this in it, and Kip Thorne and his collaborators Morris and Yurtseberg found time travel solutions with wormholes in flat space time. Time is going this way. Space is going this way. And here's my world line.
Each
Straight up
day
here
of
toward the future.
velocity runs
Just staying home. Okay. But this space-time can be twisted around like this,
Smooth your
so that
focus
it,
down
so that my world line always is going toward the future, toward the future, toward the future, and yet circles back and visits the past. This is just like what happened when Magellan's crew went west,
gently
around the world, got itself back here. So if you're a time traveler,
life presents to me
you're
joyous
always going toward the future. But like a loop on a roller coaster, you're finding yourself looping back into the past because space-time is curved.
So a closed time-like curve can allow time travel to pass. But in order to understand how this relates to the universe creating itself, one needs to understand the history of the early universe. According to most cosmologists, the universe underwent an exponentially fast expansion known as inflation. This was first described by Alan Guth, who immediately in episode 2 of the series.
The overall effect is gravitationally repulsive, and this explained like how the universe started expansion, and also explained how the microwave background formed as it should extra time in there for different regions to get in causal contact. But Guth wanted this vacuum state to decay to normal particles, so we have normal expanding Big Bang model. And so he wanted this to decay all at once, so it would be uniform. And that's like putting on water on the stove and having it just turn into steam all at once. But he realized that there was a problem with that, and that was that when you actually would do that, it would form bubbles of steam, just like when you boil water. I wrote a paper in 1982 saying the answer to this problem was that we lived in one of the bubbles. We lived in a bubble universe. Our universe was one of these bubbles. And from inside the bubble, everything looked uniform. And so that's the problem. Beyond our universe, we expect to find other bubble universes. Within a very short time after my paper appeared, a paper by Linde and Albrecht and Steinhardt appeared. It had a detailed particle physics scenario to produce this, and this was called new inflation, and it solved the problems in inflation. So this was a geometrical picture of having a multiverse. So we believe in inflation because it explains so beautifully the fluctuations that we see in the cosmic microwave background.
Richard God is a world expert on relativity. To understand the beginning, he needed to team up with someone with a similar level of expertise in quantum mechanics.
I'm sitting in my office one day and I get a letter from a student leaving me. And he wants to come to Princeton for graduate school. And he's included a paper that he's written. And this is a paper, Stephen Hawking had written that there would, in a wormhole, there would be some sort of effect where the fields would build up and it would blow. Leisurely had invented the idea of putting a reflecting ball in between the two wormholes that would deflect these waves and not let them build up like this. It was a way to counter Hawking's objection to the wormhole of time machine and the storm. I'd already read this paper. It was in the Physical Review. I really liked it. I thought this was a fantastic paper. And I said, wow, this is a student who would like to come. So I got him to come to Princeton. And when he arrived, we worked on this time travel solution. So I'm the general relativity guy. And I knew he knew how to do all this fancy quantum mechanics stuff. What people do, we don't have a quantum theory of gravity, but what we do is we specify a geometry of curved space-time, what this model is going to look like. And then we apply quantum mechanics in curved space-time. This is called the semi-classical approach. So we just apply this complicated quantum mechanics to figure out what the quantum vacuum state is that would go with this curved space-time. The amazing thing about Stephen Hawking is that he could do both the general relativity part and invent the quantum mechanics. He was the first to apply quantum mechanics in curved space-time. So he could do both parts here together.
With the general relativity and quantum mechanics in place, God and Eve were ready to present their model of the universe.
I validate myself
This
on a daily basis.
is looks like something Dr. Seuss would have made. This is inflation, and Linde said that inflating universes give birth to other inflating universes by quantum fluctuations. This was like branches coming off a tree. What Legion and I proposed was that the universe could give birth to a branch like this that circled back in time, like these time loops, and gave birth to itself. Because when you have this model, you say, well, okay, I got the branches, but where did the trunk come from? Well, the branch can branch off, it expands, and then becomes the trunk. It expands by a factor of 535, so you can think of this as a 1-inch branch branching off, going up into a 535-inch trunk that the branch comes off of. So there's this time loop at the beginning, and this universe gives birth to itself. The great thing about inflation is that a little tiny inflating piece grows up to be an enormous inflating piece. Each little bit of which is exactly like the little bit that it started with. So what if one of those little bits was actually the bit that it started with? Then it could give birth to itself. Something funny had to happen in the universe, and time travel solutions and general relativity seemed supremely suited for the purpose. This space-time here, where it's a cylinder, I've called this groundhog day space-time, because it's a flat space-time. But you just keep repeating the same thing, like Bill Murray did in that movie. You can have what's called a gin particle. This is one that has a circular world line. And that person is never born. You have a place where your world line starts, that's when you're born. Where it ends, that's where you die. But this one just goes around in a circle.
If the universe is in a time loop, why doesn't it go around forever? How does it get out?
That's a very good question. The groundhog day universe, that's flat space. And it just curls around the cylinder. Nothing interesting happens. It doesn't get out. But we're talking about an inflating universe. This is called the sitter space. And it's Earth. So it does break up. This is a diagram of the sitter space. It's a map of the sitter space. And the sitter space is a spherical universe, little tiny thing that you saw before with the bubbly universes. And it's just bigger and bigger. So this is the South Pole of the universe. This is the North Pole. And as you go up here, this just makes it expanding, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is the infinite future here. The only thing here is this region that's colored in. Because I'm taping this to this, and everything else is gone.
Just a little bit about the chart.
But this opens out, you see, into a big, infinitely large inflating region here in the
IRL everything.
And then you form your bubble. This is a picture where you end up
it basically means
with a
that
time machine at the beginning of the universe,
it's better.
and then
I've
we have
learned that
no
you get so
time
much more
travel.
fulfillment from simulated reality, and that living in your ideal world is totally
Make sure you take this stuff against this stuff. They must be in turn tested. So how can you teach yourself against?
Okay, let me give you a humorous answer first. When they were about to select the new
Life presents to me joyous
I wondered,
circumstances.
well, who might they select? Like
Life
everybody.
presents to me
And so I
joyous
thought to myself,
circumstances.
well, you know, South America is an important area for the Catholic Church. It's been growing greatly. And so they've gone outside Italy before. I think they're going to go with a South American Pope. And if it was a South American Pope, well, poverty is a big issue in the Catholic Church in the South America. And so the Pope would pick a name that would be relevant to St. Francis. So I said to my wife, I think the next meditation is going to be a South American, and he's going to name himself Pope Francis. And she said, she always gets scared. She said, oh, don't do that. You'll make people mad. You're not empowered. Well, there were a couple of guys, I think they were from Antigua. They decided to go to the experimentally test time travel.
In a world where the realms of online and offline are becoming increasingly merged, it is
so they looked for a couple of words, a couple of phrases on the internet that couldn't possibly have been known ahead of time. Imagine, if you will, that I made that to you. And, oh, here's somebody who said Pope Francis. Oh my God. Somebody who said time travel. Oh my Lord. The serious answer is, one of the things about inflation is that it forgets its initial condition. It spans by so much. It didn't forget its initial condition. So it's hard to tell. Different models.
Escape the imperfections of your real life.
But you can have what I would call an indirect.
The internet is not real life.
Believe that we live in a multiverse, like the many multiverses. Why do they believe that? Well, because we believe in inflation. Because they believe like the cosmic microwave background, the fact that we see inflation currently. Inflation is testable. Early universe models will be tested if we get the string theory to finally produce what we call the theory of everything. The important thing about this theory is it is these extra tiny dimensions that are curled up in time. Well, inflation tells us that the big spatial dimensions that we see today, the three big, large spatial dimensions, used to, they were tiny. Here, all the spatial dimensions are curled up in time in the early universe. And ours just goes one step further. There's a curled up dimension of time here. So this seems to fit in very well with what superstring theory might produce. And I think ultimately, when we get a theory of quantum gravity, there'll be other testable predictions it makes. And then you'll look at the solutions of those equations in the early universe, and you'll see if you get a model like this.
Welcome to these affirmations.
Stephen Hawking has put forward a non-protection conjecture, implying that time travel to the past is simply disallowed by the laws of physics. Otherwise, what would prevent you from going back in time and killing one of your grandparents?
One wag once said, you know why the Titanic sank? It was because of the extra weight of all the time travelers, people on board,
and with the greatest self-esteem.
Another way to say that is if you went back and tried to warn the captain of the Titanic iceberg, he'd ignore you like he ignored all the other iceberg warnings because we know the ship sank. It's one four-dimensional sculpture. It does not change. Okay? So if you went to the past and did something, you're already part of history. You're already on the roll call of people. The other solution is the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics. This is where you have many parallel worlds that are like trains that are train junction. And there's a world where there's a world where people never landed on the moon. And every time you make a decision, you make a measurement, the new world branches off. So if the time traveler went to the past, saw his grandmother, killed her, he's killed the grandmother in another parallel universe. The parallel universe where she was born, and you lived on, she gives birth to your mother and you. That parallel has to exist. grandfather paradox has two separate solutions. We don't choose, right? We don't know the facts
are becoming
increasingly rare.
It is a myth
It's assuming that some law of physics will be discovered in the future that will prevent it. We don't know of anything that will prevent them so far. Mid-19th century, Hawking was a very important paper. He said, let me assume two things. Let me assume that there are no closed timeline universes, and let me assume that gravity is
your online persona today.
now let me look at the expansion of the universe that we observe. Let me trace that back to time. I can prove then that there's a singularity.
Alter or completely create
But you know
your
what? Discovering inflation. Because inflation is gravitationally repulsive. We observe dark energy doing this in the universe today. So that violated the conditions of this thing. We have to remember that it is a conjecture, and the conjectures don't always have to be right. One of the things Hawking says on television, he knows this is a joke. Well, where are all the time travelers, like at the Kennedy assassination? The idea there is that, well, if you wait long enough, technology will advance enough for them to come back to the present. Hawking knows perfectly well kind of time machines that get larger. There's a time loop that's created up there in the future, where you're moving strings and moving wormhole valves up in the year 3000, and then there's a Cauchy rise when the time travel starts. Okay, and before that there wasn't any time travel. So if you create a time loop, let's say in the year 3000, you may use it to go from 3002 back to 3001, but you can't use it to come back here.
The laws of physics seem to be time reversible at a fundamental level. And yet we see a definite arrow of time. We remember the past, but we never remember the future. We would easily notice if a film of a clock face was on backwards. It's not so easy with a pendulum. The laws of physics seem to be like the pendulum. Whereas our experience is more like the clock face with a definite arrow of time. So an ideal
Visualize now this whirling vortex of energy.
how this arrow of time emerges.
An unexpected property we found about our model, we didn't build it into it at all, is that it gives you a natural arrow of time. Here's a close-up picture of space-time.
Tune into this energy.
This time goes this way.
Understand
Here's
what
a
relates to
particle, an electron.
self-preservation.
Let's say I shake
It connects you to the physics.
electromagnetic waves go out toward the future. I mean, they would get to Alpha Centauri, it's 4 light years away. They get to it 4 years later. People on Alpha Centauri would see this 6 sense. We observe this. We do not observe this. This is called an advanced wave. And when we shake a charge, we do not observe electromagnetic radiation going off the past. That would look to us like every time you shook a charge. Before that, you saw electromagnetic waves coming toward it just at the right time. And it would do this. We know that electromagnetism is a theory that is time symmetric. It's a theory that is time symmetric. So why do we only see this solution, not this solution? Okay. Well, in our model, there's a very easy and interesting answer to this. If I may send a photon out here toward the future, it just goes out on the future. But if I toward the past, it goes down in here, circles this time loop. Notice that the universe is contracting the way it seems. This causes it to blue shift. This causes it to become more and more energetic. More and more energetic. It circles this an infinite number of times, and it creates an infinite energy density of those things. Okay? That's not the geometry you started with. That would change the curvature. That would be a different curvature of space-time than you have. So that would be like killing your grandmother. That's what would would happen here. That's not a self-consistent solution of this geometry. Notice what happens if you go the other way around, though. Let's say I had a photon that's going around this way, or a graviton that's going around this way. It would go around here, and every time it circles, the universe is expanded by a factor of 535. It's been redshifted by a factor, stretched by a factor of 535. It's lost energy by a factor of 535. Every time it goes around, it loses another factor of 535 energy. It can circle an infinite number of times and leave you with a convergent relationships. 1 plus 1 over 500 plus 1 over 500 squared. Where they may be that's in here, in the time loop region, the temperature is cold. It's absolute zero. You may find this chart doesn't see any thermal radiation. If you lived here, if you would put a detector, you would see it's absolutely cold. This is a low entropy. See the energy. And here, once you cross this boundary, you start to see the fact that you have event horizon. You can't see those other, funnels and those other universes. And so you merge out here, and it heats up. You see the Hawking radiation due to the event horizon that you're seeing. So by the time you get up here, you're seeing a hot heat that's thermal radiation consistent with this center space that you would expect. Okay, so it's going from cold initial conditions to hot initial conditions, and that's an increase in entropy. So this time loop is a low entropy loop because of its geometry, and that's giving the universe low entropy initial conditions. This is what you need to have the entropy arrow of time always run downhill from there. Once you start out with it, just roll it downhill. So we get an entropy arrow of time automatically, and we get a causal arrow of time that you shake something here and then later this effect occurs. This normal causality we're getting with these retarded potentials. We get these two things for free from this model.
Recently, physicist Aaron Wall claimed that thermodynamics might spell trouble for closed time-like curves.
This is a fixed diagram. This is a wormhole. It's been illustrated here. You got a wormhole mouth over here, and you got another wormhole mouth over here, and they're not synchronized. So this line is a closed time-like curve where the guy comes along here, and then disappears into this wormhole mouth and immediately appears back here. So this is a gem one that has a closed time-like curve. What he noticed was that this time traveler is not going to see a light signal. It's sort of trapped in the past. This light signal never gets it. So there's a horizon here. There's a Cauchy horizon where you feel but to him it's an event horizon seen from the inside. This traps the region. Judgmental. He can't see anything beyond this. Just like you can't see events that are occurring inside a black hole. The regular time traveler, what they would do would be they come all across here, they come into this mouth, they come out of this mouth, and say hello to themselves, and go on here to the future. So that's not true for them. But it is true for somebody that's traveling close enough. Now, event horizons have a certain entropy associated with it, a certain amount of disorder that's proportional to the area of the event horizon. So what he noticed was this area of this event horizon is shrinking. That looks like a decrease of entropy, and that would violate the second law of thermodynamics. This is his point. Now, the interesting answer to this is, as far as our model is concerned, let me go back to this picture right here. Here is the person on the closed time-line curve here. Here is this event horizon this person can never see past. It includes the region of closed time-line curves here. And so, now that looks like it's contracting, doesn't it? So it looks like it's all right. But this is a curve space-time, you got to remember that the scale is decreasing. It's being shown in smaller scale here. So the truth is, in this the center space, this is not decreasing in area at all. It's like a cylinder instead of a box. In fact, if this person were living in regular center space, his world line would continue on up here to infinity. And this would be the event horizon in Doppelgänger. That's a fixed constant radius in center space. So, Mr. Wall's argument
if your heart chakra is open,
does not